Welcome into the AHSAA Weekly, your inside look at everything happening with the Alabama High School Athletic Association, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union. I'm John Holder. Coming up on this week's program, we'll look ahead to this week's Class 6A North Alabama Championship game, the semifinal rematch between Clay Chalkville and Mountain Brook. We'll have the coaches of both teams. We'll also look ahead to next week's Class 7A State Championship game at the Super 7 at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. We'll have the head coaches of both teams from Thompson and from Central Phoenix City. We'll also have the head coaches of the girls flag football state championship game participants also coming up next Wednesday in Birmingham, as we'll have the coaches from Smith Station High School and from Hewitt-Trussville High School. And we'll have the brackets detailing all the quarterfinal round games and setting up this week's semifinal round games in Class 1A through 6A. All of that and more on this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly.
Every bank has their own app, but it's just that, theirs. At AmFirst, our app was made for you, so you can personalize your dashboard, pay your bills, and redeem points for rewards you'll love. Get the app made for you at AmFirst.
We are back on the AHSAA Weekly, previewing our WOTM AHSAA statewide game of the week this week, the 6A North Alabama Championship game. It is going to be a dandy in the semifinals. Clay Chalkville traveling to Mountain Brook to take on the Spartans. We've got the head coach of the #1 ranked Clay Chalkville Cougars, Coach Drew Gilmer, joining us at this time. Coach, glad to have you with us this week on the AHSAA Weekly.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Coach, a great matchup coming up. Your team travels just down 459 to Mountain Brook to take on the Spartans. First, let's talk about your team. #1 in the final ASWA poll. You're 13-0. The offense has been phenomenal. No one's held you under 40 points. You're averaging right at about 52 a game, 7 times over 50 points this year. You have had quite a run this 2021 season.
Yes, sir. No, it's been a fun year. We got a great group of young men and coaches, and man, they've been fun to coach, and very, very proud of them, and they're doing a great job.
Coach, both offensively and defensively, as the statewide audience tunes into this game on Friday night at 7, who are some of the guys they need to look for Clay Chalkville?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's several of them, and on the offensive side, it's going to start with our quarterback, Caleb Johnson. And then from there, we got to be able to spread the ball out to our playmakers with Marquarius White or Squirrel out on the perimeter, Mario Craver, Jalen Mbakwe. And then, but it all starts for us in the backfield with a running game. So again, we got 3 backs back there in the backfield, but it all starts with our running back, Edward Isley, who's had a phenomenal year. And so again, we got to be able to establish the run right there. And those are the guys you kind of need to look out for on the offensive side.
Coach, Mountain Brook, the last team that beat your football team last year in the quarterfinal round, about 53 weeks ago. Now the rematch again at Mountain Brook. Just your thoughts on this Mountain Brook Spartan team. Yeah,
it's the same Mountain Brook you always get with a Coach Yeager coach team. They do such a phenomenal job with those guys, and they're extremely disciplined. All right, very well coached. But again, I think they're very talented as well. I think people, don't give them enough credit for how talented their football players are. And they put 11 guys on the field every single play that played to the whistle. And they're great blockers and tacklers. And they just do a phenomenal job with them.
Coach Gilmer, thank you so much for spending time with us. Best wishes to you and your football team in this all Jefferson County matchup to see who goes to the Super 7. Thank you for joining us this week. We'll see you Friday night live right here on WOTM.
Thank you for having me.
Drew Gilmer, head coach of the #1 ranked Clay Chalkville Cougars, getting ready for that showdown here on WOTM Friday night with Mountain Brook.
Looking for a perfect checking account? Don't waste your time. No minimum balance, no monthly fees, and a convenient app. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
Coming up on Friday night here on WOTM, our statewide AHSAA game of the week will be a classic, an all Jefferson County matchup in the 6A semifinals, the North Alabama Championship game. It will be Clay Chalkville traveling to play at Mountain Brook. Right now, we've got the head coach of the Mountain Brook Spartans, Coach Chris Yeager, joining us once again here on the AHSAA Weekly to talk about the game. Coach, glad to have you with us once again.
John, so good to be here.
Coach, a very impressive win by your football team, knocking off defending state champion Pinson Valley 30-0 last Friday in the 6A quarterfinals. I would think that your football team obviously is playing very well right now.
Well, the thing that we've emphasized all season long, John, is just trying to get 1% better every day, probably like a lot of teams, and continue to trend upward. And I really feel like our team, has been on the rise. I really do. I feel like we're playing better. And it's just something that we've noticed. We played cleaner games with not many penalties, not many mistakes. And so we hope to continue that trend.
53 weeks ago, almost, you played Clay Chalkville last year in the semifinals, and it should say the quarterfinals last year. You beat them last year. That is the last loss that Clay Chalkville has since then. They are coming into this game undefeated. Just your thoughts on this Clay Chalkville team.
Well, John, they're a complete football team. I mean, when you look at them, the first thing you want to look for is positive matchups. Where we have, where we've got some kind of advantage. They're a complete football team. There are no weaknesses. I mean, the last team that I saw that I had that thought process was Thompson. They are very similar to them, and it'll be a great challenge for us. And we're looking forward to it. But they've got a very good high school football player. They've got some Division I football players in every single position. They've got all their bases covered, and so it'll be a great challenge for us.
Coach, thank you so much for taking just a couple of moments to join us here. Looking forward to the game live again before a statewide audience here on WOTM with the AHSAA Game of the Week. It will be a classic, it looks like, shaping up at your place coming up on Friday night as Mountain Brook, your team, playing host to the #1 Clay Chalkville Cougars. Best wishes to your football team, and we'll see you on Friday night.
John, thank you so much. I've enjoyed being with you.
Chris Yeager, head coach of the Mountain Brook Spartans, as the Class 6A semifinal matchup, the North Alabama Championship game. The winner goes to the Super 7. Clay Chalkville and Mountain Brook live Friday night at 7 here on WOTM.
Every bank has their own app, but it's just that, theirs. At AmFirst, our app was made for you, so you can personalize your dashboard, pay your bills, and redeem points for rewards you'll love. Get the app made for you at AmFirst.
Coming up next, history will be made at the Super 7 State Championships in Birmingham with the first ever girls flag football state championship game coming up on Wednesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon between Smith Station and Hewitt-Trussville. The coaches, Meg Larson of Smith Station and Taylor Burt of Hewitt-Trussville. Walk us through that decision at Smith Station to field a team this year.
Yes, sir. So as soon as the state of Alabama came out and said that they were going to, sanction the sport, I went straight to my principal and I was like, hey, this is such a cool opportunity. I think this is something that we could really excel at Smith Station. Can we get on board? Can we get on board? And it took a little bit of convincing at first, but as soon as we got everybody on board, I'm the female athlete weight trainer at the high school, and so I had a great group of kids that I got to pick from, and I convinced a lot of them to come out and try out something new that they had never done before, and it was so fun getting to see all of them, take all of their other sports skill sets and try to pull it together to make this an incredible thing for us this year. So it's been a journey for sure. It's been a lot of learning and a lot of growing.
Coach Larson, I want to know, you mentioned having to maybe recruit a little bit some of the students out of the hallways. Did you have to recruit a lot, or did you have a lot of girls that signed up and wanted to play?
Absolutely. So I had all of them in class, and when I started talking it up, I was just like, y'all, this could be really cool. This is the first year this is going to happen. I did definitely have to recruit my kids and explain to them, what it was going to be and how the skill sets they already had were going to be, or make them really successful flag football players. But once I got my team built, the excitement started there. They were ready to go. They were ready to learn. They were eager to get started this summer.
Tell us about the team. Tell us about the strengths of the team, maybe some leaders on the team that have been standouts for you this fall.
Yeah, absolutely. My quarterback is a senior softball player. Her name's Bryn Rapicki, and she has got an arm on her. You know, I can't say enough about her and how much she's learned and grown over this season. She's got so much talent and potential, and she's just really just now seeing the field like I want her to. You know, she's seeing the coverages, she's seeing the girls that are getting open, and that's so important for you know, going forward, because she has great wheels. She can run too, but she hadn't had to use them a whole lot thus far. A couple other standouts we have Sabrina Fox and Savannah Jenkins and Jessica Garrett. That's my secondary, and they're all real big and real tall. All softball girls except for one soccer girl, and they, you know, are excellent. You know, they keep our backfield completely contained. We've got a junior linebacker, Savannah Hadaway, who, you know, averages 10 or 11 tackles a game. She's a fantastic kid, you know, just eager. She ends up on the ground every other play, but she wouldn't have it any other way because she's so exciting. It's not going to let anybody get past her.
I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting for the girls, and you know, to get the opportunity to play a sport that they normally wouldn't get an opportunity to play. And so it's an exciting time, and I'm glad that the AHSAA decided to do this. The girls have really enjoyed it. So it's been fun.
Out at Trussville, I'm going to ask you what I asked Coach Larson from Smith Station. When the sport first came about and you're deciding to have a team at Hewitt-Trussville, was it a combination of things, of girls coming to you and you having to maybe go ask the girls, or how did that work specifically at Hewitt-Trussville?
So actually our athletic director, Lance Walker, sent us a text and said, hey, you know, we're going to possibly have some flag football. And well, when the announcement came out, I had sent him a text, and Coach Hunter, who is also, we're co-head coaches, she had a basketball game today, so she couldn't be with us, but we both were really interested in it. Both loved football growing up. Both loved just watching the game, and you know, that was something we talked to Lance about, and were able to create a team and had a lot of interest, a lot of interest from a lot of different girls. So we were fortunate with that, and that Lance was all for it, behind it, supported it 100% right off the bat.
Coach Burt, that's something we've heard from coaches that I've talked with all across the state, is that the schools that elected to have a team this year, the excitement level from the girls has been off the charts. I'm assuming, as you said, that's been the same way at Hewitt-Trussville.
Yes, sir, it has. I think, you know, people don't realize how much females actually do enjoy football and love watching the game, you know, and just would love to be a part of the game. I know growing up I would have loved to have had the opportunity to play, you know, but they were extremely excited. We had, you know, our initial sign-up had almost 60 kids on it, and, you know, the number dwindled a little bit as time got closer, but we ended up having to have tryouts. We had so many that were interested in playing and excited about playing.
Coach, when you began your coaching career, did you ever think that you would be coaching at a state championship football game? Tell us about that.
No, sir, I definitely did not. I've been very fortunate the last few years to be successful, and you know, as far as like have a good program here in softball at Hewitt, and we have a really good basketball program. So we've been fortunate to have good female athletics. You know, I never in a million years thought that I would be sitting here talking to you about playing, you know, the Wednesday of the Super 7 for girls flag football, but I'm really glad that we have the opportunity to do so.
Looking for a perfect checking account? Don't waste your time. No minimum balance, no monthly fees, and a convenient app. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
The Class 7A State Championship game is set for 7 p.m. next Wednesday night, December 1st at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. That will feature the Thompson Warriors and the Central of Phoenix City Red Devils. The head coaches of both teams are up next. Head coach of the Thompson Warriors, Mark Freeman. The head coach of the Central Red Devils, Patrick Nix. Coach, just let's go back and begin last night in the semifinals, the South Alabama Championship game at your place. You had beaten Auburn the first time. They get out to a 17-7 lead. but then you come back with 21 unanswered. Very impressive performance again by your football team last night. Take us through the game with Auburn last night.
Well, obviously Auburn's a very good football team. Got a lot of really good players, very well coached. We didn't play our best early. They played really good, made some plays. We didn't make the plays, and they jumped out to a lead. But I thought our guys responded really well. Thought our guys handled the situation well and settled in, halftime, settled in, came back in the third quarter and started just battling back. And we finally took the lead in the fourth quarter and had two quick back-to-back touchdowns. Caleb had a big long run to get us the lead, and then our defense had a huge, Tamarion Parker had a touchdown recovery on a fumble, and just a huge back-to-back plays right there to really take the lead and go up 28-17. And then defensively, I think we gave up one, maybe two first downs in the whole second half, and really just took control of the game, defensively, and offense, did what we had to do offensively to score enough points to win.
Offense and defense both getting it done there in that second half against Auburn. Just the resiliency and the character, I think, when you're down like that and you come back with 21 unanswered and shutting out the other team as well, I think it speaks a lot to the character of your football team.
There's no doubt. It speaks a lot to our leadership. I think our seniors did an incredible job, and even some of the younger guys did an incredible job of leadership. Coaches did an incredible job of not panicking on the sideline into halftime and all those kind of things. But no doubt, our players, easily you could fold tent, start pointing fingers, get all crazy. But our guys did a great job of just hanging in there and continuing to believe, continuing to support each other, continuing to love each other, and having faith in what we're doing. And and at halftime, you could just sort of tell the guys were okay. They were under control. They were okay. There was no panic. Just had to go out and do what we were capable of doing. But great leadership from the guys. And you're right, it shows a lot of character, shows a lot of discipline to just hang in there and just keep doing what you're supposed to do and just believe that eventually good things are going to happen. So very proud of the guys, very proud of our coaches and players of how they responded to the situation.
Program-wise with Central Phoenix City, this is nothing new. This will be 3 out of 4 years that Central has represented the South in the state championship game. Just a solid program. Just your thoughts on Central returning and being back in the state championship game once again in Class 7A.
Well, it's exciting, and you're right. I mean, it's something that we're used to. Obviously, this is only my second year there. Coach Dubose did a great job of getting them there before, and we're back. And we're back. In the state championship game where we're used to being and where we expect to be. And I think that's what your goal going in at the beginning of the season. In December the 2nd this year, our goal will be to return right back to the state championship game. And it's just one of those things that's expected and that you walk into, and that's what your goal is every year. And so it's great to be back. It's great for the city. Phoenix City is a great place and great people, and a lot of pride in football. A lot of great teams that have come through there. A lot of great players that have come through there. A lot of pride. And they love they love football, and so it's great to be back, in the state championship, and great for the community, great for the school, great for our administration, players, everybody to be back.
Well, let's talk about the game last night that folks all around the state of Alabama. Obviously, this was a rematch. The first time Hoover had won 24-21. You rematch again here with a state championship berth on the line, and your football team played magnificently last night, coming and winning that game 35-10. Just your thoughts, and take us through the game last night with Hoover.
Well, I thought that our guys responded really good to the game last night. We had a really good week of practice, which is a big compliment to our coaches and our players, the way they approached last week. And like I said, losing that game during the season, I think, got their attention, and it got our focus on the week of what we had to do to go in here and beat a good football team. That we felt like that we wanted to get back to Hoover and play in the Met, and have a situation where we could try to at least do a better job than the last time we were there. And I was so proud of our players and coaches for the way they performed last night.
Your outstanding quarterback Connor Harrell, he missed a good portion of that first game against Hoover. And then he missed some playoff games as well, some other games. He'd been out for several weeks, but last night he was back. And, Coach, he had a really nice performance last night in that semifinal win.
He did. He had a great night, and the night he had to do some things last night he hadn't been doing a lot during the season because of the thumb injury. We lost some aspects of our game that we were used to having, and we had to find somewhere to replace it. Hoover was too good on defense to think that we were going to throw the ball 40 times or run it 50 times with no attempt to throw it. So we figured out what he could do pretty good and just try to do more of that than we usually do.
Coach, he may not be by any stretch of the imagination the largest player in the state of Alabama, but he might be the most dynamic player. We're talking about Ryan Pepin's great guy that does a little bit of everything for you, just a really dynamic player. He had another big game last night. Tell folks around the state about this young man.
Ryan is a special player. We've watched him grow up and just mature mentally. He knows so much about the game. He understands the leverages of the defenders. He understands where open grass is. He understands a lot about getting off press coverage, and he's got a lot of attention in the last 5 or 6 weeks. I think he's in Utah, visiting Utah today, and he's just a special player that has great hands, great instincts. He can return kicks, and just Ryan is a super player, and we're blessed to have coached him.
Trying to win your third state championship in a row, Coach. Kind of compare and contrast a little bit this team to the last couple of maybe Thompson teams. I know that's a hard thing to do, but this is obviously a very good team. But tell us about maybe the strengths of this particular team in your mind.
Well, I think obviously in playoffs and state championships, you got to play great defense, and we're blessed to have a really good defense. Peter Woods, Jeremiah Alexander, Jax Van Zant, Nate Riddle, Tony Mitchell, Traquan Fagans, Trevor Hardy. The list goes on. We've got really good players that's been around there a while, and they play really good defense. Our coaches do a good job of not putting a lot on them, but we've asked our defense in the playoffs every year to step up, and they always have. And I think going into the playoffs this year, that we feel real confidence in our defense, and that's helped us be able to come through some stuff with Connor. Obviously, we played a 10th grade quarterback, and we never got really put in the position that he had to go win the game for us due to our great defense. And I think our team starts with our defense. We do a good job on offense. Usually during the seasons, our offense is adequate enough to get us some wins, but I think the difference this year is our defense is playing really good, and we've been pretty solid in the kicking game. So if you've got that going on, but I think our whole team starts with our defense.
Every bank has their own app, but it's just that, theirs. At AM First, our app was made for you, so you can personalize your dashboard, pay your bills, and redeem points for rewards you'll love. Get the app made for you at AM First.
And we are back on the AHSAA Weekly, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union. Taking a look at the brackets now for the Alabama High School Athletic Association state football playoffs, beginning classes 1A through 6A in the quarterfinals and the 7A semifinals. We begin in Class 1A in the South. It was Brantley, a winner over Keith, 20-14. And then also in the South, Sweetwater beating Maplesville 41-7. So this week, the South Alabama Championship game on Friday night will be number 2 Sweetwater playing at number 1 Brantley. In the North, Wadley won a rematch over Woodland 27-0. Pickens County outscoring Decatur Heritage 60-46. So next week, the North Alabama Championship game will find 12-1 Wadley playing at 11-2 Pickens County in Reform. In Class 2A in the South, a game you saw right here on WOTM, Clark County of Grove Hill over BB Comer of Sylacauga 14-7. Highland Home, a team that finished the regular season at 5-5. They're the Cinderella team this year. They beat number 1 Lynette 15-14. This week, the South Alabama Championship game. 8-5 now, Highland Home, the Flying Squadron, going into Grove Hill to face the number 2 ranked Clark County Bulldogs. In the North Alabama Championship game, Cleveland won a regular season rematch over Blount County rival Southeastern 39-8. They will get defending state champion Mars Hill Bible of Florence. That game will be at Cleveland. Mars Hill Bible in a rematch of last year's semifinals, beating Spring Garden 42-19. In Class 3A in the South, Montgomery Academy shutting out T.R. Miller 28-0, and it will be an all-Montgomery South Alabama championship game in Class 3A as Montgomery Catholic blasted Hillcrest Evergreen 41-6. So an all-Montgomery matchup. As we said, 10-3 Montgomery Academy makes the short trip down the road to Montgomery Catholic, the #1 team in the state in the final ASWA poll. They are 13-0. And another rematch is coming. Montgomery Academy and Montgomery Catholic met in the regular season. So did Piedmont and Sacs out of the same region in 3A Region 5. Sacs beat defending state champion 5 at 5, 14-7. Piedmont knocked off previously unbeaten Winfield 43-14. So this coming Friday night, Jack Stewart Field at Sacs. It will be the Piedmont Bulldogs at 11-2 taking on the Sacs Wildcats at 12-1. That only loss for Sacs at the hands of Piedmont back in September. In Class 4A in the South, ZF Viger beating American Christian 26-10, and Jackson with a thrilling win at the end of the game beat defending state champion Hanley 24-23. Another rematch of a regular season matchup. It will be the Jackson Aggies traveling to Pritchard to face the Viger Wolves. Viger 12-1, Jackson at 11-2. The North Alabama championship game will be in Madison. #1 ranked Madison Academy beat Good Hope 35-28. Meanwhile, Aniana blasted previously unbeaten Brooks 56-28. So the North Alabama title game, #1 Madison Academy in Madison at 12-1, playing host to 12-1, the Aniana Redskins. In Class 5A in the South, Andalusia beat UMS Wright Prep 20-14. Also, it was #1 ranked Pike Road beating Faith Academy in Mobile 42-0. So your South Alabama championship game will be another rematch of a regular season matchup. Pike Road beat Andalusia 28-14 in the regular season. They rematch at Pike Road. Pike Road ranked #1 in the final ASWA poll at 12-0. Andalusia comes in at 9-4. In the North, we had an all-Jefferson County quarterfinal between Pleasant Grove and Center Point, with Pleasant Grove going into Center Point and beating the Eagles 49-21. Meanwhile, up in Coleman County, it was Fairview with a very impressive win over the Parker Thundering Herd, 44-27. So next week, this week coming up on Friday night, the North Alabama championship game in Class 5A. It will be 12-1 Fairview and 12-1 Pleasant Grove playing at Pleasant Grove in Jefferson County. In Class 6A in the South, Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, a winner over Saraland 24-16. Hueytown blasting Opelika 46-10. This will be the South Alabama championship game at Hueytown. Another rematch of a regular season game. Hueytown beat Hillcrest Tuscaloosa earlier in the season. They will play again in Hueytown. Hueytown at 12-1. Hillcrest comes in at 10-2. The North Alabama championship game will be again right there in Jefferson County, and it will be an all Jefferson County matchup. Mountain Brook beating the defending state champion in Class 6A, Pinson Valley, 30-0. Clay Chalkville went to overtime for the second time this year. They beat Gardendale 50-44 in overtime. Great matchup coming up. The game you'll hear or see right here on WOTM on Friday night live at 7 p.m. will be the matchup between the Mountain Brook Spartans and the Clay Chalkville Cougars. Clay Chalkville ranked #1 in the final poll at 13-0. Mountain Brook was ranked #3. They are 12-1. And 7A, it was the state championship pairings. They're already set. The semifinals happened last week. Central Phoenix City had beaten Auburn 21-7 in the regular season in the Class 7A Region 2 championship game at Auburn. They fell behind. This time did Central Phoenix City to Auburn 17-7 at the half, but scored 21 unanswered in the second half at Phoenix City. Central Phoenix City won the 7A South Championship, beating Auburn 28-17. They will advance to the Class 7A State Championship game at Protective Stadium in Birmingham Wednesday, December 1st, as they will take on two-time defending state champion Thompson. The Warriors getting little revenge. They lost to Hoover 24-21 in the regular season. But this time back at the Hoover Met, the game you saw right here on WOTM, Thompson beating Hoover by a score of 35-10. So it will be Central Phoenix City and Thompson in that Class 7A championship game coming up on Wednesday night, December 1st, 7 p.m., Protective Stadium in Birmingham, live right here on WOTM. That's going to wrap up this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union. We'll see you back here next time.